May 2022 meeting of the CSU Board of Trustees is called to order. Ms. Matthews, please call the roll.
Trustee Adamson. Trustee Arambula. Trustee Clark.
Present.
Trustee Day.
Present.
Trustee Fagan.
Here.
Trustee Furstenberg.
Here.
Trustee Fong.
Here.
Chair Kimball.
Here.
Interim Chancellor Kester.
Present.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis. Trustee Linares.
Presente.
Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Trustee McGrory, Governor Newsom, Trustee Ortiz-Morfett, Trustee Reynes,
Present.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Present.
Speaker Rendon, Trustee Sebelius,
Here.
Trustee Simon, Trustee Steinhauser, Superintendent Thurman, Chair Kimball, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. As you all know, Dr. Jolene Kester has graciously agreed to lead our university as interim chancellor for a period of 12 to 15 months as a national search for our next regularly appointed chancellor is completed. We welcome you, Chancellor Kester. On behalf of the board, we thank you for your focus, expertise, and continued commitment to the Cal State community, and we look forward to your first report later in this meeting. We will now move ahead to the business at hand. In an effort to provide accessibility and flexibility for the public, we will begin by taking all public comment for committees and plenary at the beginning of our open session. We welcome public comment from those joining us in person today and those providing their comments virtually. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Matthews to please call the speakers who have requested to provide public comment. I note that each speaker will have 1 minute for their comments. Ms. Matthews?
Our first in-person speakers will be Lisa Pena, Paige Griffin, and Robbie Madrigal. Please step up to the microphones on either end of the dump key.
It's on? Sorry, this is my first time. So good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Lisa Pena from Cal State San Bernardino, where I've served for close to 4 years. On August 20th, 2018, I began working as the Family PAC biller. 14 months later, I had no choice but to file a whistleblower complaint for what I believed were fraudulent claim submissions. For making this protected disclosure, the campus retaliated, so I was forced to file an Executive Order 1116 complaint for retaliation. On September 23rd, 2021, I was notified by the campus investigator, who was not a trained attorney, that no improper governmental activity occurred, even though a state-conducted Family PAC audit found that one or more of my allegations were substantiated. I am dismayed that retaliation seems to be the go-to response at Cal State San Bernardino. My experience is paradigmatic of that response. I therefore appeal to the Board of Trustees to intervene to stop the retaliation. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Paige Griffin. I'm an employee at Cal State San Bernardino, where I've worked there for almost 7 years as an administrative support coordinator in the facilities management department. On Tuesday, March 1st, 2022, a Cal State San Bernardino employee sexually assaulted me. He walked into my area unannounced and began talking to me, and then took off my face covering and forcibly held my face against his face to where I could not pull back. I was the only female in the office that day. I immediately reported the incident to university police, and an officer interviewed me that same day. On March 21st, after I've exhausted all of my vacation and sick time, and without being allowed to work remotely or transfer to another department, I attempted to return to work. However, coming back to that space where the assault occurred, I experienced extreme fear, anxiety, and nervousness, and I was put in the exact same situation that I was in when the assault occurred. Then management threatened me with disciplinary action for missing work. The perpetrator was rewarded by management with on paid leave while I was getting nothing or emotional support financially, any of the things. I've asked President Morales of Cal State San Bernardino to demonstrate his off-stated commitment to health and safety and well-being of every member of CSU community by allowing me to telecommute or alternatively work in another workspace. I appeal to you, Chancellor, to exercise my prerogative to correct this. President Morales, with all due respect, I am extremely disappointed with your lack of concern and compassion. Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Robbie Madrigal. I've served Cal State San Bernardino for 20 years. I'm an alumnus of the campus. Congressman John Lewis once said, "My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something." I'm here speaking today because I've seen things that are not right and not just at Cal State San Bernardino. Retaliation against employees who express concerns about unsafe working conditions, discrimination, and harassment must stop. Perfunctory platitudes that CSU does not tolerate retaliation are merely empty assurances. The practice of holding an employee accountable for work assignments while the employee is on medical leave is beyond unconscionable. I respectfully call on President Morales to issue a full-throated disavowal of retaliation, including retaliatory reprimands, extreme supervision, pretextual performance evaluations, and fabricated instances of alleged, quote, unprofessional conduct. Retaliation is a form of violence, and violence harms lives. President Morales, please demonstrate in both word and deed that retaliation is not right, not just, and will have real consequences for those who carry it out, regardless of their position at CSUSB.
Our next three speakers are virtual: Alexei Folger, Rabab Abdulhadi, and Margarita Islas. Alexei, you may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Alexei Folger, and good morning. And I'm speaking today as an alumni who loved my time at San Francisco State University and as a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, which strongly supports the Arab and Muslim ethnicities and diaspora studies program. I'm speaking on the item of Abdulhadi versus CSU, and to let you know that this is part of a much larger issue, including the grievance of Dr. Tomomi Kinikawa and 3 statutory grievances at San Francisco State University where the faculty have ruled in favor of Professors Abdulhadi and Kinikawa in all cases. The university's approach to inclusion and diversity falsely equates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism and actively supports efforts by Zionist organizations to undermine academic freedom. President Mahoney's decision to brush aside all the findings and demands of its own faculty shows that it places little value on the notion that a justice-centered campus with full support for academic freedom benefits all students. The university is in breach of contract at this point. The CSU board needs to step in and hold President Mahoney accountable. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Rabab Abdulhadi, you may begin.
Good morning. My name is Rabab Abdulhadi. I'm the Director and Senior Scholar of the Arab and Muslim Ethnicities and Diaspora Studies Program at San Francisco State University. Acknowledging indigenous people on whose unceded lands we meet, I ask you to hold SFSU President, outgoing and incoming Provost accountable for 1, violating our academic freedom, 2, creating a hostile work environment, and 3, engaging in a systemic campaign to dismantle the Ahmed Studies program. President Mahoney vetoed 3 consecutive unanimous decisions by 3 faculty hearing panels who ordered SFSU to apologize to me and my colleague, Professor Tomomi Kinikawa, get around Zoom to hold our censored open classroom as soon as possible, and hire 2 tenure and or tenure track faculty at the associate or full professor level to build the Armed Studies program as a healthy program. President Mahoney's vetoes are undemocratic, authoritarian, and exhibit complete scorn for shared governance, damage campus morale, and torpedo our social justice mission. I ask you to hold them accountable, as we will too. Thank you.
Margarita, you may begin your comments.
Good morning. My name is Margarita. I am a student from Cal State LA, Cal State Los Angeles, and I would like President Covino to be resigned because he has ignored all of students' needs and wants in terms of a graduation venue, not having facilities up to date, especially with elevators not being enforced for the ADA. There's many things wrong with the school, and students try to speak out, but yet are stepped on every single time. And we just hope that there is a change possibility. Thank you.
Our next 3 in-person speakers, Eric Anderson, Mario Beza, and Edie Brown.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Eric Anderson. I have served at California State University, San Bernardino since 2018. My name is Eric Anderson. I have served at California State University, San Bernardino since 2018. I recently complained about age discrimination, and now I am being retaliated against. I've had an impeccable job performance for the last several years. I received university's highest awards. Now I am given vague job directions in an attempt to make me fail in my position. Even when I ask for work clarification, it is not provided. I also call on you, President Morales, to stop retaliation.
Good morning. My name is Mario Baeza. I'm the council member at large for Academic Professionals of California, representing Unit 4. I'd like to commend Trustee Sebelius for his foresight to motion for an increase in funding way back in November of 2021. Also for those who voted to pass that motion, Trustee Adamson, Linares, Ortiz-Morfit, and Reyes. Although it failed, here we are asking for the exact same amount of money that he actually was requesting. Having the foresight and common sense, knowing that we have been saying what we have been saying for years, that staff salaries needed to be increased and salary steps need to return back to the CSU. I ask the other trustees to follow your lead, to be bold, to listen, and not to be afraid to upset legislators or make excuses as to why we can't invest in our dedicated staff at the CSU. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Edie Brown. I'm the president of Academic Professionals of California, Unit 4. This is an ask to the Board of Trustees to support the recommendations of the Mercer Salary Report. Recently, the governor has asked for an increase in enrollment, a continuation of work for closing the equity gap, and increasing graduation rates at a time when our unit, Unit 4, is seeing employees leave for higher paying jobs elsewhere. APC continues to experience high turnover, leaving that work to those who remain with no addition to their salary. Enough of asking us to do more for less. Fund the Mercer salary recommendation to provide a livable wage for our folks through a reasonable salary step program. Help us retain our dedicated staff. Thank you.
Our next 3 virtual speakers, Don McCauley, Tessie Reese, and Andrea Skinner. Don, you may begin your comments.
Good morning, trustees, chancellor, university presidents, and guests. I'm Don McCauley, bargaining unit 7 chair of the California State University Employees Union. Overall, the cost of reform CSU's salary structure is $287 million in ongoing funding. We welcome the Senate budget proposal, which includes funding for the salary study's recommendations. We have asked that the state adopt a budget with the additional funding request, which is being made by the CSU in partnership with faculty and staff unions. The CSU and its workforce are important to the California economy. For every dollar invested by the state, the CSU generates $6.98 for California's economy. CSU campuses have a substantial impact on their regional economies and communities, supporting thousands of jobs and generating millions of dollars in state tax revenues. Thank you.
Tessie, you may begin your comments.
Good morning, Chancellor, trustees, guests, and virtual brothers and sisters. My name is Tessie Reese. I'm the Unit 2 Chair for CSUEU, and I'm an LVN 2. I have been at San Diego State for 25 years. We urge the state to fund the recommendations from the salary study because having a structured salary system creates more fairness. Most successful organizations reward their employees for competencies and years of service. The CSU does not have a salary structure that does that. It depends on managers who are human who have biases. The result, which is supported by the salary study, is that thousands of dedicated workers with 5 or 10 or more years of service barely move up the salary range. Unfortunately, many are women of people and people of color. Implementing the salary study will significantly improve the gender and race pay gap that exists at the CSU. Thank you.
Andrea, please accept the unmute request and you may begin.
I'm Andrea Skinner. I'm the Vice Chair for Bargaining Unit 9 at CSUEU. We urge the state to fund the recommendations from the salary study because having a competitive salary system will allow the CSU to hire and retain talent. Student success rests on the CSU's ability to recruit and to retain the best faculty and staff, which is difficult seeing as there is increased staff turnover due to stagnant wages. This cannot continue. As the CSU said in its recent legislative report, the CSU's mission is in jeopardy if it's unable to recruit and retain qualified employees to serve its students and to fulfill the significant role that the CSU plays within California's economy. Our workforce is the most vital infrastructure we have. Investing in CSU workers is an investment in our state's future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next 3 in-person speakers, Emmanuel Ortega, Parshan Khosravi, and Rose Duran.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Emmanuel Ortega. I am a staff member at Cal State San Bernardino, my alma mater, where I have worked for more than 15 years. I would like to ask that you please compel President Morales to stop the retaliation against me for having made a protected complaint about unsafe working conditions at CSUSB. After I made the complaint, I immediately received a reprimand. Retaliatory harassment at Cal State San Bernardino is a very real concern. The message CSUSB has sent is clear. We will punish any employee who dares to file a Cal OSHA complaint. I have copied Mr. President Morales on all emails related to the retaliation, so he is doubtless aware of my situation. I'm asking once again President Morales to please assert leadership to stop the retaliation and grant me a transfer out of the University Advancement Division. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and Trustees. My name is Parshan. I work with U Aspire, a nonprofit organization that, through advising, policy, and training work, impacts over nearly 500,000 students across the country, including here in California. I'm here with you today to urge the trustees to support AB 1746 and the provisions laid out in the Cal Grant Equity Framework. This is something that is united across the higher ed community. Everybody agrees with the importance of this. The data is pretty clear. 32,000 more CSU students would qualify for Cal Grant with this proposal passing. It's an increase of 42% across the board in CSU, and it's something that the Department of Finance agrees on. It's something that the CSAC, California Student Aid Commission, agrees on, and it's something that the LAO agrees on. So we'd appreciate your support, and we have a package, we have a letter, written letter as well in your package that we would direct you to. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Rose Duran, and I've been employed at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for the past 22 years. I am here representing Unit 4 employees as a member of the APC Executive Board. I'm an extended ed specialist and currently make the same salary as my colleagues on my campus that have been in the classification less than 2 years. 22 years. 22 years has been my commitment and loyalty to our students, campus, and department. And it appears that it's not very important to Cal Poly SLO or the CSU. I urge the Board of Trustees to do right by its employees and support advances within job classifications and create new pay ranges that adjust wages to the market median and regularly update them. We also want the Board of Trustees to encourage the governor to return salary steps so that individuals can provide for their families. CSU Academic Senate expresses the loss of confidence in the trustees. The separation agreement with Castro that we negotiated should be renegotiated by the CSU Board of Trustees is inappropriate and encourage them to immediately rescind the assignment as of the advisor to the board. Thank you.
Our next three virtual speakers, Jessica Westbay, Waleed Afifi, and Steve Roddy. Jessica, you may begin.
My name is Jessica Westbay. I'm the Vice President for Representation for CSUEU. I also am a 12-year long staff member at CSU Chico. Over the last 3 weeks, a collective of CSU union groups came together to write emails and sign postcards directed at legislators. Yesterday, we spent time at the Capitol lobbying for the budget augmentation to fund the findings from the salary study. We heard from ground workers and academic advisors, nurses and IT staff, administrative support staff, and student workers. Altogether, we've so far collected more than 8,000 postcards and sent more than 10,000 emails. These numbers are huge, and each one represents a deeply dissatisfied CSU employee who is overworked and underpaid. The findings from the salary study are very clear. The current salary structure hurts the institution, the workers, and the students we all serve. The model of paying stagnant wages is not sustainable. We need salary reform now. The status quo cannot continue. Thank you.
Waleed Afifi, you may begin your comments.
Board members, my name is Waleed Afifi. I'm a professor in the Department of Communication at UC Santa Barbara. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your critical service. The U.S.-based nonprofit organization, Palestine Legal, along with many other organizations, have shown organized efforts to systematically take away the right of free speech by academics to advocate for Palestinian rights. Part of this effort is the absurd claim, challenged by several leading Jewish groups as well, and also represented earlier in public comments, that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. It is deeply troubling that these dangerous beliefs seem to have impacted decisions by President of San Francisco State University, Mahoney, as it relates to the AMIT program. I would urge immediate intervention and repair, lest the board be complicit. I understand that the seeming complexity of the Palestine-Israel conflict makes folks hesitate to know how to act. But with a little bit of background knowledge, the actions that uphold free speech and due process are easily discoverable. The actions taken at SFSU by President Mahoney are egregious and must be addressed. More broadly, I would encourage you to hold space to your experiences of deep anti-Palestinian racism at CSU campuses, most noticeably at SFSU. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Roddy, you may begin your comments.
Thank you. Greetings. My name is Stephen Roddy. My comment also is in regards to the grievances of Professor Tumumi Kinukawa and Professor Rabab Abdulhamdi at San Francisco State. As a resident of San Francisco and a faculty member at a nearby institution, I express my shock at the administration's disregard for the faculty hearing panel's rulings in the grievance cases of these two faculty members. President Mahoney's decisions to ignore these unanimous rulings exhibit blatant disregard for the integrity of faculty self-governance by which they exercise oversight over their curriculum and of their colleagues. I urge the trustees to make a full investigation and take appropriate measures up to and including the replacement of this administration with one more respectful toward the faculty and students of the institution and more representative of the values of academic freedom and freedom of speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next three in-person speakers, Drew Scott, Melina Abdullah, and Lita Ramos.
Chancellor Kester, good morning and welcome again to the CSU. Hearing all these things that people are talking about is, kind of frustrating when you're hearing about retaliation and having known that it's happened on some of the campuses. My name is Drew Scott, and I'm the Skilled Trades Director for Teamsters 2010. I'm also a facility control specialist for 14 years at Fresno State. We were up in Sacramento yesterday for Lobby Day, and we had 86 Unit 6 members. Unit 6 only has 1,033 guys, or actually there's a few females that are part of skilled trades also. And there was 86 of us up at Sacramento lobbying for the $287,000 that we're trying to get to help with the Mercer study. And to have that many guys show up, I mean, that shows you it's pretty important to the skilled trades, and I know it's pretty important to a lot of other people that are staff in the CSU. And we would really appreciate if you would really look into this and really take the time to talk to your HR people, because there are a lot of people that are suffering. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are a lot of people that are underpaid in this system and that haven't been treated fairly, whether it's through retaliation or whether it's just through somebody not caring enough to watch out for somebody else. And I would just ask that you look into this. You're a fresh set of eyes that are here, so thank you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, my name is Melina Abdullah. I'm a 20-year professor of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA, former department chair, and many of you may have heard that on May Day of this year, I was violently removed from an on-campus event at Cal State LA by campus police. I was pulled by all 4 of my limbs. I was carried out on May Day, on the last day of Ramadan, on the first day of Teacher Appreciation Week, and I was abused and humiliated. That act of anti-Blackness was enabled by Cal State LA President Bill Covino, who has a 9-year history of anti-Blackness. One of his first acts as university president 9 years ago was attempting to cancel cultural graduations. He's called police on Black students numerous times, and we are saying that in this moment, when anti-Black racism has created white supremacist terrorism, enabled white supremacist terrorism in places like Buffalo, we also have to look at our campuses. You also have to ask yourselves as trustees what you are willing to do. If Bill Covino is enabling anti-Black racism and abuse of faculty, students, and community members, how are you enabling him, or how are you holding him accountable? And so we are here to say that Bill Covino must go. We're asking you to take swift action to remove William Covino as president of Cal State LA so that you can root out anti-Blackness on our campuses.
Absolutely.
I'm here to ask you to do your job, to do your due diligence, and to please save us at Cal State LA. Please ask President Covino to step down now. This is a legacy, a 9-year legacy of anti-Blackness against faculty and students, and it's no longer tolerable. Covino is a failed leader. He has lost complete trust with faculty and students at Cal State LA. A year ago, the Office of Communications sent us faculty words about Covino receiving a stellar evaluation on his job. How does he get a stellar evaluation and a 91% no confidence vote within a year? Please do your job because it's important. We are suffering. Please do the right thing. Covino must step down now.
Our next 3 virtual speakers, Denise Castro, Catherine Hutchinson, and Vida Samian. Denise, you may begin your comments.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Denise Castro, calling on behalf of the Education Trust West as an organization working to expose and eradicate the injustices and inequities in California schools and colleges. The Education Trust West respectfully requests the Board of Trustees to support AB 1746. The Cal Grant Equity Framework will simplify, streamline, and expand the Cal Grant program. AB 1746 will ensure that an additional 32,000 CSU students would qualify for the Cal Grant Award. That represents a 42% increase in CSU students eligible for Cal Grant awards. This data is confirmed and agreed upon, and AB 1746 will help to build upon and ensure that CSU is affordable to our most vulnerable students and reach their educational goals in supporting them. For those reasons, we ask the Board of Trustees to support AB 1746. Thank you.
Catherine, you may begin your comments.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Catherine Hutchinson. I serve as president of CSUEU, SIU Local 2579, and I work at CSU Channel Islands as an instructional support technician. I'm also an alumnus of Cal State San Bernardino and worked as a student assistant during my student life. Together with our CSUEU Executive Director, Jim Filio, and Teamsters Skilled Trades Director, Drew Scott, I served on the labor management team, which worked with Mercer and system-wide HR on the salary study. We shared all the information and history that we had, and Mercer reviewed mountains of information and has provided us with 4 essential recommendations. 1, that employees are brought to mid-market. We are on average 12% below market. 2, move to a 9-step system. Our current system does not provide reliable advancement. 3, modernize the job framework. Many of our employees are not properly classified. And 4, manage the salary study structure to keep pace with market and equity. Our current system does not permit employees to plan our career at the campus, nor our lives with our families. We support the 4 recommendations of the study and have committed to work tirelessly to win funding for the study. Thank you.
Vida, you may begin your comments.
I'm Vida Samian, former dean and professor at California State University, Fresno. I'm here to request the removal of Dr. Lynn Mahoney from her office as president of San Francisco State University because of her refusal to protect academic freedom, her complicity with big corporations like Zoom, and external pressure groups like the Lawfare Project, and her shameful rejection of findings by 3 faculty grievance panels. Academic freedom is an existential right, foundational right of the university, and the president has the responsibility and duty to protect it. I call upon you to remove Dr. Mahoney as she has been unwilling and unable to meet her office's obligations to support academic freedom, to stand up to corporate powers, and to safeguard the educational integrity of the curriculum for faculty and students. Thank you.
Our next 3 in-person speakers, Dagoberto Argueta, Molly Talcott, and Elizabeth Houston.
Most of us. Good morning, board members.
By now, most of us know about the Mercer Group report and the ongoing campaign asking the governor and the California legislature to fund its recommendations. This campaign has brought us at a rare moment, one in which administration and unions are actually in agreement in how to solve the problem of underpaying the staff of the CSU. We are grateful for the campus presidents who have joined us at rallies and meetings in support of our budget request, but now would like to encourage board members to participate in lobbying the governor and the California legislature for what would be a transformational development for the staff and faculty of the CSU. If this advocacy effort on the part of the board is already taking place, we thank you. This is a very worthwhile project, and its success will be of benefit to the entire CSU community. Thank you.
Good morning, trustees and Chancellor Kester. My name is Dr. Molly Talcott. I'm a professor and academic senator at Cal State LA and chair of representation for CFA. Do the members of the board believe in shared governance? Do you believe in accountability? Do you want to help us create a public university system that centers diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging, and therefore must challenge anti-Black racism and sexism? We who work and learn in the CSU are waiting and watching to see if your actions match your words. On May 1st, Dr. Melina Abdullah, as she noted, was violently removed from our campus mayoral debate at Cal State LA. It was degrading, it was reprehensible, authoritarian, and anti-democratic to the core. On May 10th, our academic senate voted 91% no confidence in President Covino. Our union, whose poll has reached 100, has voted 80% no confidence in President Covino. This is part of a long pattern, as the Senate noted, of failures of leadership, and now we invite you to act with us. Faculty have voted resoundingly. Those of us who are elected, no to Covino's leadership. We've lost confidence. He must go now. And you need to listen to the faculty, the students, and the staff at Cal State LA. Covino, resign. Thank you.
Covino, resign.
My name's Elizabeth Houston. I'm a faculty member at Cal State LA. And I am asking for the removal of President William Covino from president of my school. I was horrified to witness pictures of Melina Abdullah being carried out by the LAPD on May 1st. And I also have spent years as the only faculty member in a department of close to 60 faculty. The only Black faculty member in a department with close to 60 faculty. I'm a lecturer, and there has been only one Black faculty member in the English department at Cal State LA in the history of the department. These numbers speak nothing to the agony and isolation that comes with being one of so few. I have absorbed sexual harassment and racial hostility from faculty and students alike, but there is nowhere to turn when I am the only Black person, also femme, also queer. One of my most brilliant Black students entered my department with the hopes of getting a BA and then a PhD. They were treated like a shining star until they started to directly name anti-Blackness. They were disregarded and sidelined. They dropped their dreams of wanting to get a PhD. The same thing happens to many brilliant Black students on our campus. Black folks leave. It is not surprising. Whether they are pushed out, kicked out, or exit through a back door does not matter. We simply cannot stay on a campus that wants to kill us. I call for the removal of our anti-Black president, William Covino. We need a radical and immediate upending of Title IX. We need truth and reconciliation commissions that unearth the stories of harm that have been buried for decades. Thank you.
Our next three virtual speakers, Tomomi Funakawa, Adam Gottlieb, and Charles Toom. Tomomi, you may begin your comments.
My name is Dr. Tomomi Kinukawa, and I'm faculty lecturer at SFSU. I demand removal of President Mahoney and Provost Tsueyoshi for their multi-year attempts to silence Dr. Rabab Abdul Hadi amid studies and teaching Palestine, and that SFSU administration's collusion with external organizations, including private tech companies and Zionist organizations. Through 3 faculty hearing panels, unanimously ruled in favor of Dr. Abdul Hadi and myself in our respective statutory grievances. For example, the first faculty panel agrees that SFSU administration has inflicted harm upon Dr. Abdul Hadi and myself in silencing our open classroom and violated our academic freedom. The panel concluded that SFSU administration's action was in line with the recommendations of external Zionist organization Lawfare Project. In total disregard to faculty shared governance, however, President Mahoney vetoed all the 3 faculty panel's decisions. Thank you.
Adam, you may begin your comments once you unmute.
Good morning, trustees. My name is Adam Gottlieb of Unite LA, which works as an education business intermediary across the state to build the conditions and support for our public system to support students and thriving in our economy. We and business partners believe that the Cal Grad Equity Framework, as laid out in AB 1746 and not reflected in the May revise, will be essential to this goal, allowing for more students to enter the CSU directly or transfer from the community college system, educating and training 150,000 more students who would be eligible for the Cal Grant, especially students of color, student parents, and economically disadvantaged students. We urge the trustees to continue advocating for greater accessibility and funding, and ask that you make the Cal Grant Equity Framework and AB 1746 a priority. Thank you.
Charles, you may begin your comments.
Good morning. I'm Charles Toombs, CFA President. This is your moment to begin an intentional transformation from white supremacy and cis heteropatriarchal culture and practices that are harming students, faculty, and staff. The CSU is presently a state and national embarrassment because of your leadership. But leadership with a new accountability can change this. Your lack of responsible leadership is overshadowing the brilliant and amazing work that students, faculty, and staff are doing. Your Band-Aid and superficial approach cannot solve the deep structural and systemic wounds in the CSU. A new accountability is required for us to heal. To begin this long-needed transformation, join CFA, the other employee unions, the CSU Academic Senate, students, and others who are calling for an independent legislative investigation into Title IX complaints and procedures. We want open and transparent searches for all executive positions and an end to executive retreat rights and rewards for misbehaving executives. We want the immediate convening of the Alternatives to Campus Police Task Force. We want to see you take real and meaningful actions to dismantle and stop anti-Black racism and anti-Asian hate, and far too many other forms of systemic oppression our students, faculty, and staff are experiencing in the CSU. We call you into this work. If you are unable or unwilling to begin this transformation, you should resign as a BOT member. Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers, Kevin Weir, Vang Vang, and Diane Blair. Kevin, you may begin your comments.
I'm Kevin Weir, Vice President of California Faculty Association. In late December, we signed a tentative agreement including a 4% pay increase and an SSI. It was at that point that management should have prepared for implementation. We finally got a technical letter in early March, but many faculty did not get their new pay until this month. Retroactivity checks began in April, but some faculty have only recently received money. Thousands more did not receive their full retro pay, and some report that they are still waiting. Adding insult to injury, some faculty had their raises misapplied and have received a notice of repayment. It is an ugly thing when employees must pay money to their boss. SSIs were agreed upon for last year. Calculations could have begun in December. Instead, some campuses are done, while others estimate completion by the end of July, more than 7 months from the agreement and nearly 6 months from ratification. Faculty have lost trust in their employer to enact one of the most basic responsibilities, to pay their employees on a timely and accurate basis. My mathematics colleagues are embarrassed. My business colleagues are chagrined. My English colleagues call it theater of the absurd. And the sociologists among us shrug their shoulders and underscore their lesson that justice delayed is justice denied.
Vang, you may begin your comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Vang. I'm a librarian from Fresno and CFA treasurer. Systemic change needs to happen, and it needs to be now. Who among you is courageous enough to initiate a real conversation with all of us, the faculty, staff, and students of the CSU, about broken trust, misuse of power, and racism? Who among you is that leader, that everyday hero that cares, not about your title, position, and money, but about making a difference in creating a CSU today that tomorrow's students, staff, and faculty can be proud of? Systemic change is the only way to confront systemic harm. The sooner you acknowledge the harm and pain that all of us have experienced, the sooner healing can begin, not by us singing Kumbaya together, but by assuming good intentions and implementing policies, procedures that is fair and impartial, transparent and collegial. Let's start by having open searches for all administrative positions at the CSU. Stop retreat rights for executive managers and implementing Title IX reform at all 23 campuses. My hope, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are that leader and that you will choose to make a difference today. Thank you for your time.
Diane, you may begin your comments.
My name is Diane Blair, and I'm a faculty member at Fresno State and an officer for CFA. The details of the Title IX failure at Fresno State are well known by now, but Fresno State was just the tip of the iceberg. Over the last several months, we have learned time and again of the myriad ways that the CSU system and campus administrations have repeatedly failed survivors of sexual harassment and violence. Administrators entrusted with the supervision and safety of students and employees have been more concerned with protecting the reputation of themselves and their institutions. This culture of leadership tends to understand its own interests as more aligned with the perpetrators than the survivors of sexual abuse and violence. It is only because of courageous survivors and whistleblowers who broke the code of silence at the CSU that we know the full extent of the harm being caused by our institutions and its leaders. We need our Board of Trustees to be as courageous as the faculty and staff who have sought accountability and justice in our CSU system. We expect you to understand your own culpability in perpetuating a culture of impunity when you engage in the very same behaviors that offer fallen and disgraced leaders their own financially lucrative cushy landing through these golden handshakes and executive transition plans. We expect you to work with us to change this perverse culture of incentivizing abuses of power. It's time to stop being bystanders and enablers. We demand you start being accountable for the safety and well-being of those of us working in the CSU. Thank you.
Our next three speakers, Pamela Rodella, Ann Strom, and Nina Torres. Pamela, you may begin your comments.
Hello, I'm Dr. Pam Rodella, lecturer faculty at Cal State San Marcos and CFA lecturer rep and Women's Caucus member. Over the more than 15 years that I've been working for the CSU, I have mentored students and colleagues through everything from rape and sexual harassment to stalking and retaliation for reporting sexual misconduct. The Board of Trustees is showing a reprehensible example to CSU students and the people of California with the condoning of bad behavior in leadership by engaging in cover-ups and slap on the wrist discipline. I am calling on you to do the right thing. Stop condoning rape culture by taking action. This action should look like fully funded women's resource centers, gender equity and pride centers, and sexual assault advocacy offices. We need more emphasis on preventative education and support of survivors, rather than a sweeping of rape culture under the rug to avoid expensive lawsuits and shameful news stories. Be the leaders our community deserves.
Anne, you may begin your comments.
Thank you. I'm Anne Strom, CSU Stanislaus, and I want to thank all the previous speakers. I support you. It was the CSU's responsibility to implement the agreed upon raises. The fact that many of us still have not received those raises points to not only a very concerning level of ineptitude, but sends a very clear message about how much the CSU values its employees. I'm a department chair, and I have colleagues who are relying on that raise to increase their down payment in this very tight housing market. Others were relying on the raise to upgrade a very old and costly family car. There is a message in this disorganized rollout of our raises, along with those Title IX violations by disgraced executives at the campus and system level. This message that you are telling everyone is that abusive and discriminatory CSU executives matter more than educators. You have some oversight here. Can you please step in and ensure that the raises happen and that CSU executives don't matter more than everyone else? Thank you.
Nina, you may begin your comments.
Dr. Nina Torres, CFA Chapter President, CSU San Bernardino. I stand here with everyone else. We demand that all employees and students be provided with transparency in presidential searches. We need to use our combined resources to evaluate the characteristics and former work experiences of all candidates. Currently, we have this type of input for both provost and vice presidential searches. Why should the search for a campus president be any different? We cannot be subjected to the types of attacks and violations that are coming to light on some of the CSU campuses, either by presidents or condoned by them. No more sweetheart deals whereby people are paid to go away. No more NDAs, non-disclosure agreements that protect the guilty. The light of public involvement must be utilized to stop all the malfeasance that has occurred. As a People's University, California taxpayers have the right to know what has occurred and the new measures that will be instituted to protect all employees and students. We as employees under the principles of shared governance should be full participants in all phases of campus presidential searches. The public has the right to know and make its wishes clear on who will co-govern each campus. What campus presidential candidates have done or not done in their former places of employment should not be hidden or rewarded with a promotion to campus president. Intense scrutiny of candidates for a campus presidency is essential, with no golden parachutes or retreat rights to protect criminals from their own crimes at the expense of workers and taxpayers. You cannot sit here from a business as usual stance. We demand transparency and co-participation in all phases of the presidential search process.
Our next three speakers, Sunny Lie, Michelle Ramos Policia, and Francis Mercer. Sunny, you may begin.
Hello, thank you. My name is Sunny Lee Owens, and I'm a faculty member at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm here to address transparency issues regarding MPP and faculty searches on our campus. I have here a printout of 48 searches of MPP level positions between the periods of 2016 to 2020, including the hiring freeze that has happened on our campus. Our president, President Coley, publicly states that she supports tenure density and the increase of tenure density on our campus, which is directly impactful towards our student success and advancement, but that's not the case. It has decreased, and we are also, we lack in our ability to compete with other universities because of our lowballing, especially of payment towards and salary incentive towards BIPOC scholars and teachers who are representatives of our student body. So I call to the Board of Trustees, please, on behalf of our campus, stop all these bureaucratic hires of MPPs and start investing on faculty who have a direct impact on student advancement and success. Thank you for your time.
Michelle, you may begin your comments.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, Junta Directiva de la CSU. Michelle Ramos Pellicia, faculty member for 11 years, CFA chapter president in San Marcos. Sexual harassment, abusive workplace, retaliation, discrimination. These are the words that describe our working and learning environment. Abusive administrators keep getting away with their behavior. Faculty, staff, students who file complaints receive little to no support. I want administrators and anyone in a position of power be held accountable for their abusive behavior, while faculty, staff, students who come forward and file complaints get the needed support. The CSU responsibility is not to protect and reward abusive administrators. It is to keep our students and employees safe so we can learn and work without fear of discrimination, sexual harassment, or retaliation. Cases of administrators sexually harassing, retaliating, discriminating, and abusing power and the executive transition plan need to be independently investigated by the legislature, and any Title IX violations need to be addressed. I demand from the Board of Trustees and the CSU accountability, transparency, and justice. Thank you.
Francis, you may begin your comments.
Hi, I've been at Cal Poly Pomona for 4 years as a professor of biology. I teach immunology, and I also run a student-centered research lab where we study immunity to parasites. I brought in almost $1 million in external funding since I've started, and working with my students has really been my dream job. But I found myself demoralized recently because having just completed my student loan payments, my partner and I are now looking to buy a house and have children. However, my salary is still not enough to afford a mortgage payment, even for a meager house in LA County, which is where I'm employed. And our current parental leave policy is only 2 weeks, which I feel is woefully insufficient and not in line with California values of supporting working women and gender equity. I would call on the trustees to support an increase in the CSU budget this year to support our already negotiated 4% raises. And also to support AB 2464, which is a parental leave bill to expand our parental leave to a full semester. Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers, Sasha Perez, Steve Zeltzer, and Ayako Yoshida. Sasha, you may begin.
Good morning, Chairwoman Campbell and Board of Trustees. My name is Sasha Perez, and I'm the Public Affairs Director for the Campaign for College Opportunity. On behalf of the campaign, we urge the Board of Trustees to emphatically support the Cal Grant Equity Framework and their legislative and budget advocacy priorities. The Cal Grant Equity Framework will expand access to the Cal Grant to over 150,000 students and simplify the financial aid process to the benefit of all students and their families. With the Cal Grant Equity Framework, 32,000 additional CSU students would be eligible for a Cal Grant. To give you a sense of how many students that is nearly the same size as Cal State LA's entire campus. Far too many talented students remain unable to access and finance a CSU education due to a Cal Grant process that remains overly complex for students and their families to navigate. With your support, California can align eligibility for the Cal Grant with the federal Pell Grant, enabling earlier and clearer communication with students and their families about how much aid they can expect to receive and to address rising non-tuition expenses. Please take action today to support the Cal Grant Equity Framework. Thank you for your time.
Steve, you may begin your comments.
I'm Steve Zeltzer. I was at San Francisco State in the strike for the Ethnic Studies Department, and I'm with Workweek and the United Front Committee for the Labor Party. I think the destruction of Ahmed program by Lynn Mahoney has to be stopped. Our university is spending millions of dollars on lawyers to crush this program, the Ahmed program. It's outrageous. I think what we're hearing today is that there's a rebellion growing throughout the state university system that you, the trustees, are not responding to the needs of the students, the faculty, and the staff. Overt acts of racism, systemic violence, discrimination, and union busting. The privatization of our university has to stop, and rejecting the attack on Ahmed is part of that. We call for her to be fired. We also need to unite all the students, faculty, and staff unions here against the systemic privatization that's going on at the university. You're not acting because you're representing the corporations that are censoring as Zoom and others, and we have to put a halt to that. Only our organized, united effort can really stop that at this point.
Ayeko, you may begin your comments.
Hi, last but not least, please condemn and remove President Mahoney and Provost Reyes from San Francisco University now. My name is Ayako Yoshida. I'm a CSU alumna, essential worker, and a taxpayer. I'm frustrated they haven't fulfilled their duty to ensure academic freedom at the public university and clearly favored a private donor's biased opinion. Recently, President Mahoney even vetoed faculty panel's unanimous ruling in favor of the grievances filed by Dr. Abdul Hadi and Dr. Kimikawa. This is an example of democracy in crisis in the U.S. Please do the right thing. Condemn and remove President Mahoney and Provost Tsuyoshi from San Francisco University now. Thank you.
Our next three speakers in person, Daryl Good, Rabbi Heather Miller, and Randy Santiago.
I'm with the NAACP, National Association of Advancement of Colored People. I'm the area director for Los Angeles County, and I'm here also on behalf of the state conference president, Rick Callender. The issue at Cal State LA has risen to our attention. Everything you've heard, we endorse, and I submit to you that as trustees, you don't have the ability or the right. If we're sending African-American Black students to you, and you're all aware of the things they have to traverse to get to your universities and our communities, and for them not to be safe, for our professors not to be safe, it's untenable. So we are in this fight. We've been around 113 years, so consider that like the first round or 15-round fight. We would like to work with you and resolve these issues, and for you to respond to our community as you've heard from all the other people. So that's from the National Association of Advancement of Colored People. We appreciate your time, and please address the issue with Conveno and what happened to Professor Abdullah at Cal State LA. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rabbi Heather Miller. I'm a rabbi in the community. I'm a concerned community member. My friend and colleague, Dr. Melina Abdullah, former chair of the Pan-African Studies Department at Cal State LA. As you have heard, maybe you have seen the footage. It's terrifying. She has been taken out, ejected, roughed up by campus police from a public university space. President Covino decided that it was okay to have on campus a very highly publicized event, a beautiful event that should have been a great debate between mayoral candidates, not all of them, it should have been all of them, but he should be the one, as presidents of universities, many of you know, chancellors of universities, you know that they're supposed to create opportunities for their students. They're supposed to open doors for students, but instead he locked the doors on the students and the professors, the faculty, and that is a problem. I hope that in the future, I would actually call to have President Covino removed from office. We have been in this fight for many years and recognize that he has actually curbed learning as opposed to opening doors to empower students and champion them. Thank you.
Hello? All right. My name is Randall Santiago. I'm a third-year political science major at Cal State Long Beach, and I'm here because I'm tired and frustrated. Tired I have to come here month after month giving y'all my sob stories. Frustrated we have to justify why we deserve a better education, why our students deserve to come onto campus without the fear of the police, without worrying about housing insecurities, food insecurities, asking y'all to create and fund resource centers for our Black, Brown, Indigenous students of color. Last time I was here, y'all left and went to lunch because we stood up, spoke out, and cussed. Y'all were more worried about us saying fuck the system instead of worrying about improving the system. Your feelings being hurt by us cussing is nothing compared to the assault Dr. Melina Abdullah endured under CSULA leadership. Don't get it twisted. Y'all are complicit in the harm of Dr. Melina Abdullah because we have come time and time again demanding y'all to divest from the police and invest in life-affirming resources. And yet, you all ignore us. You allow Dr. Melina Abdullah to be assaulted by the police. And if you don't divest from the University Police Department and invest in life-giving resources, you're allowing it to happen again and again and again. When is enough enough? As tired and frustrated as I may be, we will continue to come back and back until the CSU is run by the students, the faculty, and the staff.
Chair Kimball, that concludes public comment.
Thank you to all of the speakers for your comments. And again, with your flexibility with the hybrid public comment format. We will now take a lunch break and reconvene promptly at, let's see, what is it right now? At 1:15. Thank you.